Thank you for the people that came here. Appreciate you, just trying to see what's going on. Uh, we'll go through this pretty quick, but just a bit about me before I start. I'm Joseph. I've been a Solidity developer for like 8 years now, which is kind of crazy to say that it's been that long. A bit more than 1% of all the stored state on Ethereum was created by calling smart contracts that I've written. So I've done a lot of work in DeFi with oracles, building oracles, and yeah, just using them and seeing their limitations and where they've gone over many years. So today we're going to talk about the history of oracles and what happens next and where they're going, and a little bit about where we are today. And my spicy take for the day to hook everybody in and make sure everyone's paying attention is that Chainlink is lying to you. And everyone who sponsored this event today is basically lying in their press releases about what they intend to do and how their solutions actually work. And for an example of that, we've got this headline from AccuWeather from about 3 years ago. AccuWeather is a weather prediction service that, they say what the temperature is going to be on any given day. And for many years, Chainlink has been doing this thing where they say, we're going to put this data on the chain. Who's ever heard that? Put it on the blockchain. Raise your hand. Put it on the blockchain, right? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. So AccuWeather, they did a whole marketing press. They did press releases, all these things. We're going to have weather data on the blockchain. So innovative, right? It's not even online anymore. It's not even available. There is no data feed for getting AccuWeather anymore. It's only been like 3 years, and they don't even support it anymore because no one used it. So I think that's very sad, and I think it's dishonest when we say that we're putting all this data on the blockchain, and then a few years later, it's not even there anymore. So that's very sad to me. And the history of oracles has basically been this cycle of saying we're putting stuff on the blockchain that we're not really doing, and really just using price data. So the primary thing that we've done with oracles for the last 8 years since they were invented in 2017 on Ethereum is we take price data and we put it on chain. And that is super boring, and we've kind of reached the limit of the size of the market, and it's become very saturated with lots of competition. So we're not going to get any more growth in oracles and of DeFi and just finance in general on chain from putting price data on chain. So just to put simply, the history of oracles, 2017 to 2025, put some numbers on chain. So take some numbers that are over here and post them to a contract somewhere. Very simple. So here's what's new. Here's what's happening now, and what's new in oracles, and what to actually be excited about, and who is actually pushing innovation in the oracle space and bringing more things actually on chain. So a few examples: USD AI. They post server farm agreements on chain, and server farm manifest will say how many GPUs are in your server farm. And GPUs are very hot right now, very valuable, right? So, yeah, that allows people to borrow against their GPUs. And that is a new market that has gone from 0 to like 500 million US dollars in like 3 months. Very cool, because that's not just posting some numbers or some price feed data or some simple data. It's actually more complex agreements and more complex rental agreements, manifests, things like that. And they're not stored as just posting a number. They're stored as NFTs, which is very cool. Then you have Opacity Network and ZK P2P, which are both using technology called ZK TLS. And instead of posting data, they're posting proofs. So I use ZK P2P for off-ramping USDC into Venmo. So Venmo, Cash App, Revolut, these kind of financial apps that let you send money. Now I don't have to use a centralized exchange because ZK P2P verifies an email was sent, that I actually sent money on these networks, and I never need to use a centralized exchange ever again. So that's very cool. It's not necessarily called an oracle, but they're reading emails. They're reading my email and then verifying the TLS signature in the email to verify data, and then doing stuff on chain with that. So it doesn't use Chainlink. It doesn't use one of these oracle providers that we're very familiar with, or Redstone or Teller. Really great companies, great infrastructure that they've built over the last few years. But there's more things happening on chain, and we're not bringing them on by posting numbers. We're bringing them on by posting proofs, and that is way more exciting and is actually unlocking new use cases. So this is just a quick example. I'm not going to go through all of this, but with zk-TLS, we have an attester, and we have this TLS signature inside of emails. So we don't need an oracle to post data. We're instead going to get any individual user to share their email. And then there's a couple different service providers that are providing different types of TLS verification. And they're not calling themselves oracles. They're calling themselves attesters, or different types of like proxy things, or they're calling themselves ZK proof as a service or something like that. But they're essentially oracles, right? They're bringing data off chain, on chain, from off chain to on chain. And that's what oracles have done for the last several years. But it's new, and it allows us to create newer apps that are better, just better experiences. Okay, so onward. Wrapping up here, this is my call to action for everyone listening: is oracles are now for putting proofs on chain. That means everything that's in your email can be proved on chain. Individual user data, individual ownership of any type of asset, not just the price data for that asset, but the proof that somebody owns it, and the proof of what someone is doing with it. So, gracias. Thank you for coming to my talk and listening. I appreciate you. Follow me at Cup of Joseph. And if you have questions or want to discuss more use cases for zk-TLS, or where oracles are going, or you're building something cool in that space, please come find me, and enjoy Buenos Aires. Thank you for hosting us.